Shape strawberry yogurt not only tastes delicious, it contains just 50 calories per pot. That should give you a lift.
This is how we've done up the lounge.
Gracious me, wherever did you get that?
Oh, George picked it up in Mozambique.
That's a long way to go for wallpaper.
Oh, that! That's living textures from Crown wall coverings. Lovely, isn't it? We put some more on the ceiling. You see, it's flat on the back, so it's dead easy to put up. Mind you, with George, it'd have to be.
Do they have lots of different patterns?
Oh, hundreds. They'll go with anything.
Yes, I suppose they would.
Add a little interest to a room with living textures. There is a food for dogs that contains over 50% more meat than the best-selling tin dog food in Britain. Its name is Winalot Prime.
Vogue for G-Plan at Logie Green Road, Edinburgh, Nickel Street, Kirkcaldy and Bank Street, Falkirk.
If it's in vogue, it's in vogue.
From Mama Nature comes a perfect Italian bolognese sauce, and there are no artificial ingredients. Now all this natural goodness is captured in Dolmio. Dolmio sauce for bolognese. Just add it to mince and simmer. For the perfect spaghetti bolognese, Dolmio. The best from Mama Nature.
Come into the Edinburgh Solicitors Property Centre and you'll discover up to 3,000 properties on display. You can pick up details on any property absolutely free and find out about all the other services your solicitor can provide.
You'd find it very difficult to buy or sell your house without a solicitor's help, you know.
So pop into the ESPC or pick up a copy of the weekly list from your solicitor.
ESPC.
It's a supermarket for all sorts of property.
There's a place where the future is so bright, over 40 new companies moved in there last year. What's it called? Cumbernauld, a new generation.
Follow this. Get 6 windows, any size, Danish UPVC double glazed, for only £1,795, or £6.41 weekly equivalent. Here's how. We'll also offer you a 10-year guarantee. Just free phone Living Design. We don't have to ring your bell to sell.
Get the maximum out of life. Get the max. Get the maximum, be your best. Get the max. Get the maximum done. Get the max, get the fun. Maxwell House is the way to the taste of today. Get the maximum, you know how. Get the max. Get the Maxwell House. Share it out. Get the max. Get the maximum taste. Get the maximum blend. Go for maximum pace. Get the taste to the end. Get the max.
Get the taste, get the max.
Bad news. You know that nice Mr. Pringle with the bike? Our new bonus idea's really got him going.
Excitable chap.
Morning.
I'll say. Instant access at 7.5% was one thing, but 8.25% for keeping his hands off it for a year. Well, he's giving it every penny he's got.
That's good news, isn't it?
Bonus, one of the great new Maximizer range from Bradford and Bingley.
Mostly, yes.
The society that's always pulling new ideas out of the hat.
Come and browse through Wilkie's superb new autumn and winter jacket collection. Pure new wool jackets from $39.99 and coats from $59.99 to suit every occasion in both classic and fashion styles. There is a warm welcome and a great selection at Wilkie's. Come in tomorrow.
Sitting comfortably? No? Then we'll begin. Selecting a new suite is all about choice and price. At Houston's, they specialize in suites, and the choice is out of this world. Traditional, contemporary, ultra-modern, patterned, self-colored, and a quite superb leather collection. Select your fabric and combination of pieces from Europe's finest designers. Being the specialists means that there's something special for everyone, especially you. Houston's, sweet sweets and sweets. 461 Gallowgate, Glasgow.
Hire a car from Arnold Clark and drive a real bargain, like these weekend hire specials. At the end of the day, yes.
Yes.
Let's also bear in mind that there is a great distinction between, for instance, the very clear signs of medical evidence and a disclosure. In the ideal world, you get that. Medical evidence and a child's disclosure.
Yeah.
Quite easy then. At the other end of the spectrum are the ones that have been referred to, just the pure suspicion, where the child either can't or is too young to talk about what's happened to it. Then you are faced with a very grave difficulty, because if that child goes back to an abusing home, then there's a good possibility that that child will never, ever feel safe enough to feel able to tell someone about it.
Do you ever go away from a situation like that with a little bell going off at the back of your head in your conscience, thinking, am I sure that these parents are abusing this child? Have I wrongly condemned some parents to guilt when in fact they're innocent?
No, I think perhaps it's the opposite. Over the years, we've learnt a few things in Leeds, and one of the things we've learnt is perhaps you do have to wait a little longer than right at the beginning before you dive in and remove a child. So I have on occasions felt perhaps personally convinced that something was happening to that child, but felt that the evidence was insufficient or the risk was too great to remove the child, because that in itself, as has been said, can damage a child. So you have to be sure as you can be.
Would you ever consider removing the abuser rather than the child, or doesn't that work?
Well, of course, we don't remove the abuser, but there is a considerable difficulty in removing abusers, because how often do abusers admit? And our experience is it's very, very rare for abusers to admit, because the consequences are quite clearly unpleasant for them. They know what's going to happen.
Are you saying to me that an abuser won't admit that he's abusing the child because he's afraid of going to prison or whatever it is?
Yes, in a nutshell. I mean, I think people know that to admit to abusing a child in any serious way can well result in them being removed into custody.
Yeah. Now, we've talked a lot about abusers, and we have not talked at all to someone who, in fact, has been abused. And Richard Johnson, yeah. Now, tell us about your experience, because you were abused quite early on in your life. I mean, what sort of form did it take? What was the home like?
We've sat here talking about kids that have self-disclosed that they've been sexually abused and they need help, and those children obviously have to be taken away from their homes if they've asked for that sort of help. Within our own family, I come from a family of 13 children where all of us were sexually abused by my father. My father was very devious, very clever in the abuse that he perpetrated upon the children. We're talking full intercourse on all children, boys and girls. He got away with most of that. The law didn't want to know. The social services didn't want to know. The schools didn't want to know. We disclosed to just about everybody and nobody wanted to listen. We were asking to be protected. We were asking to be taken away. And nobody seemed to want to know anywhere. Fortunately, times are changing. My father was eventually sent to prison for physical abuse, not sexual abuse, because in its infinite wisdom, the state decided not to expose the public at large to the horrors that reign within our particular family. And that's still a pretty predominant way of thinking. I now run a charity, as you know, called the Incest Crisis Line. Within that charity, we now have kids coming to us who have disclosed and have not been believed. We have to work with those and find out what to do with those. We have to look at the system